Even Tony Montana said, no kids, no kids. Okay.
No wife and kids, man.
On today's Wind Up Wednesday edition of the Odd Coaches Podcast, Dr. Adams and Coach Francis review the Institute for Sport and Social Justice NBA report card, as well as discussing WNBA playoffs. Welcome to today's show. The Odd Coaches Podcast is sponsored by the CKA Save Project. The CKA Save Project is an industry leader in providing student-athlete academic and athletic support. From assessing student-athletes' academic and athletic skills, to measuring and monitoring student-athlete academic progress, to improving student-athlete time management and organizational skills, the CKA Save Project provides wraparound services for student-athletes from middle school through college. For more information, visit us on the web at www.ckasaveproject.org or schedule a free consultation with Dr. Keith Adams by emailing cka@ckasaveproject.org.
Greetings and salutations and welcome to the Odd Coaches Podcast. I am your host, Dr. Keith Adams, and with me today is my tag team partner, the Jordan Grace to my Mia Yim and Impact Wrestling, as it's Wednesday and the WNBA season is still hot and heavy in the playoffs. The icon, the showstopper, the main event, and the reason why we are here, Coach Mike Francis. Coach, I got new earphones and headset, and I hope Kelly's happy with it because it was on me. But how are you doing, sir?
Good. How you doing?
Man, it is almost back to school. We go back to work soon, so let's get to it. But on this Wind Up Wednesday edition, we're gonna talk about the NBA schedule review, do a discussion on the 2022 NBA racial and gender report card from the Justice, and talk about the WNBA playoffs in segment 3. But Mike, he's back. Los Angeles Lakers star LeBron James agreed to a 2-year, $97.1 million contract extension. This dude has made $500 million in his basketball career. This is crazy. It is amazing that he has made that much money. So the extension includes a 15% trade kicker, which is an amazing thing. So he's going to be the highest earning player in NBA history with $532 million in career guaranteed money, surpassing Kevin Durant. So are you happy that he's back?
Yeah, to me, wherever he plays, I'm just happy he's in the league because he does so much. That's just personal reason aside from basketball. I'm glad he's in the ring. He's going to keep pushing the envelope. And like Muhammad Ali was a GOAT to me for what he did out of the ring, same way I feel about LeBron. He's a GOAT to me for what he's done to, building schools and for society and standing up to the status quo. So I put those two in the same regard.
Well, it also lines up for Bronny James to possibly get to the NBA. Again, I'm not a hater. I'm not an old man, and I am an older man. I do hate that the internet is like all over this kid. He is a kid. But talent-wise, NBA's tough, man. So hopefully he can grow, develop, and see what happens. But that's a lot of pressure to put on a kid. But the contract does line up, and we'll see what happens. Any thought about Bronny James, sir, before we move on to opening night schedule?
Skip Bayless went too far, I think, and I'm glad it's not my son. And again, I wasn't made rich because I'd probably lose it all in lawsuits because the way I react to things, to be honest with you, I can't. Like, I remember an agent a guy who thought he was an agent tried to call some other people about my son coming out and spread words about my son that he didn't even know. And I had to call him and say, if I ever hear my son's name come out your mouth again, you are not going to be happy. I'm willing to go sit down behind bars for my children, just so you know that. So yeah. I don't like people talking about kids like that. Skip Bayless went way too far.
Yeah, and fans, Skip Bayless had some choice words about the teenage rising senior, and it's like, Even Tony Montana said, no kids, no kids. Okay.
No wife and kids, man.
So the schedule, I don't want that. Anyway, yeah, I did that. That's my fault. Anyway, opening night, the schedule is out. And the NBA will return October 18th with the Philadelphia 76ers traveling to face their forever rivals in the Boston Celtics, followed by the Lakers going against Golden State. Christmas Day is when Mike starts watching NBA games. If you've listened to our show, the Sixers on Christmas Day will go to Madison Square Garden and face the Knicks. The Milwaukee Bucks will visit the Celtics. LeBron James and the Lakers will take on Luka and the Mavericks. Golden State will take on Memphis, and the Phoenix Suns will take on, the two-time reigning defending MVP Nikola Jokic and a healthy Jamal Murray and the Denver Nuggets. So, Mike, any game in particular you're looking forward to, sir?
Just the Christmas Day games for sure. Like you said before, that's how I usually. That's when I usually start. Everything before that is just guys warming up, tuning up. But when you get to Christmas, that's when things start to really, really kick off for me. If you ask me. The Bucks and Celtics, maybe that game I'll definitely watch. Definitely watch that.
All right. Some other notes. The NBA will be off on Election Day. I applaud them for that. The league schedule will have all 30 teams playing on November 7th, the night before midterm elections. The NBA is hoping that teams will use that as an opportunity to encourage fans to get out and vote, plus amplify the need for civic engagement and involvement. But on November 8th, which is Election Day, no NBA teams have games scheduled. Teams are being encouraged to share election information, such as registration deadlines with their fan bases. All 435 House seats are up for grabs, and 30 Senate seats, as well as governor's races. So kudos to the NBA
Hopefully
for doing that. And with that, fans, we'll take a short break. And in segment 2, we'll talk about the NBA Race and Gender Report Card on the Coaches Podcast.
There is an old business adage that says, what gets measured and monitored gets done. It is also fact that deadlines spur action. That is what the CKA Save Project Academic Monitoring Service can do for student athletes. Measure and monitor their academic progress to improve their grades. Our academic monitoring services provide ongoing academic support for student athletes for a designated period of time. Our academic success coaches work with student athletes on time management and organizational skills, along with improving their ability to self-advocate. Every few weeks, our academic success coaches meet with student athletes to assess their academic progress, as well as provide ongoing academic advising. If needed, student athletes have access to CKA Learning Specialists who provide virtual core subject academic support for student athletes. For more information, visit us on the web at www.ckasaveproject.org or schedule a free virtual consultation with Dr. Keith Adams by email at cka@ckasaveproject.org.
Welcome back to the Odd Coaches Podcast. In segment 2, we're going to take a deep dive into the 2022 Racial and Gender Report Card from the National Basketball Association, presented by TIDES, which is the Institute of Diversity and Ethics in Sport. We had as a guest Garnett Overby III from the Institute of Sport and Social Justice, and Dr. Lapchick has done this for years and years, and we want to try to bring this information to our audience. If you would like to read the report in full, you can go to ESPN. They do have it. He does write for ESPN when he does those, or you could just simply Google it, or you can go to the Institute's website, follow them on social media at the Institute, SSJ, if I'm not mistaken. But the executive summary, this is a good piece for Mike as he's transitioning to his leadership position as well. So the NBA showed enormous progress in both racial and gender hiring. The NBA received an A+ for racial hiring practices, a B+ with gender hiring practices, and saw an increase in most categories and remains an example for other men's league, other men's leagues, other women's leagues. The NBA has really put a lot of time in it. Dr. Lapchick said the NBA has long established its leadership as the best among men's professional leagues when it comes to diverse and inclusive hiring. Shot at the NFL. There's a positive trend for women at both the team and league office levels. There's 12 general managers of color at the start of the of last season. And their upcoming report cards include the WNBA, Major League Soccer, National Football League, Division I college sports leadership, and the full report card. So, Mike, we were just having a conversation about hiring anyway. And I know you just peeked at the executive summary because I was in the notes, but any thoughts about the NBA's hiring practices compared to other leagues?
Oh, I think it's far beyond. Like it's other leagues can learn a lesson from the NBA because I think the NBA hiring process is not just about uh, relationships, family, entrenched beliefs, gatekeeping, and things like that we see in other leagues. The NBA actually, when you talk about inclusion and welcoming of people of all of diversities, I think the NBA is ahead of all professional leagues as far as that's concerned.
Yeah, and because it is predominantly minority, um, I think more and more opportunities have been made available. One of the things that I've been curious about, and I'm looking forward to the college one, is the players. There's player empowerment, there's player movement, there's player in terms of making decisions. LeBron is famous for having short contracts to keep the pressure on ownership to do whatever.
Mm-hmm.
It would be amazing as we talk about the BCA and the small number of African American college football coaches, for example, if the players really locked into we're going to go where we feel represented. And Dion,
Jackson State.
At Jackson State is kind of sounding that alarm too. So that's going to be interesting to follow. But again, kudos to Dr. Lapchick and his team for keeping all of this in the forefront. But I'd like to segue to the CBA, the collective bargaining agreement between the NBA players and the owners. The current agreement was ratified in 2016, took effect in 2017, and it runs through the end of next season, like 23-24. Another note is that the NBA's TV deal is set to expire after the 24-25 season, and the league is expecting a huge increase in rights. But I wanted to get your thoughts on some potential issues. Golden State's owned by like a billionaire or something like that. So they have a lot of money. And there's a perceived competitive spending advantage. You also have the proposed tweaks to the tax system. The Supermax contract and John Wall and Russell Westbrook are prime examples of that. And as I have said on many shows, and my friends and I talk about it, the Supermax deal has average players
make a lot of money
being considered great when they're good players and they're just in a good situation. You also have Adam Silver, who has made it known that he wants an in-season tournament similar to the Commissioner's Cup, 500,000. And the NBA might be able to get $70 billion in its next TV contract. So thinking about the CBA, thinking about Kevin Durant and James Harden in these situations, any thoughts about how we're going to deal with this new contract when it comes out, when, man, there's some cracks in the pavement?
Well, it's hard to say the Supermax contract is not possible for everybody when you see them signing $70 billion deals. Like, I would want a piece of that, definitely. I don't think the CBA is going to go to where it's structured differently. I don't see that. I don't see them limiting anyone's growth potential or earnings because, they can always say 70 billion. Like, somebody say 70 billion, you just shut the hell up. in all honesty. As far as Adam Silver in this in-season tournament, man, I wish it would go away. I don't like it for WNBA. I definitely wouldn't like it for the NBA. Like, that's that. Let it be. Just let it be.
But it garners excitement. It's a pause, and they're talking about lowering the schedule from 82 to maybe 72 games, and then have the tournament. And yeah, he's giving me a deadpan look for those who are not on YouTube.
I'm with lowering the games because then you got guys like I would do that. I would say let's start with 75 games if you take away, one game a month and gave them more like off time or something like that, like 10 days, take 10 days off, reduce 10 games. That would be nice. I would like to see that because I think that, we wouldn't incur as many injuries. They would be better as far as travel is concerned. Like, I think that would be a good idea. Maybe make it 70.
All right. Well, what about this? Instead of taking away those games, why don't you increase the roster size? So then you can have 14 on the roster instead of 12.
Yeah.
And now you can play guys. You can play different guys.
It'd have to be 15 because you have one guard, one wing, and one post player. So you add one at each so you can have, like you could do that. That would make sense if you added the roster to 15. So then that expands the amount of money they spend, which now means my soda's going to be $9 instead of $7.
Oh, it's bad, man. It's bad. All right, fans. So when we come back, I have to take a humble pie mulligan because I had all false information about the WNBA playoffs, and I got to correct that. And we'll be right back as soon as we take this quick commercial break.
The reviews are in for Dr. Keith Adams' book, Finding the Balance, My Personal Journey to Academic and Athletic Success. College professor and student-athlete academic expert Dr. Lisa Rubin said, "There is nothing out there like this book, so I do hope people will pay attention and give it a read." Former George Mason standout Fowler Campbell said, "Consider this book an opportunity to work directly with Dr. Adams just like I did. I assure you that there will be something you can take away that will be useful to you throughout your personal journey." Ryan Waite, a recent college graduate who is a software engineer, said, "I like how the book is based on research, which makes it good for general students as well as student athletes." The book serves as both a memoir to Dr. Adams' 30-year academic and athletic career, as well as an instructional guide to assist student athletes, parents, coaches, teachers, and administrators navigate through the challenges of finding a better balance between academic and athletic success. The book includes over 15 personal stories and anecdotes from Dr. Adams, along with numerous former players and colleagues from a variety of sports and endeavors. You can order your copy at www.ckasaveproject.org. From the main page, simply click CKA Save Project Services and order the Find the Balance book. For more information, contact Dr. Keith Adams by email at cka@ckasaveproject.org.
Welcome back to the Odd Coaches Podcast. In segment 3, we're going to talk WNBA playoffs. So Dr. Adams was way off with this format. It is a best-of-3 miniseries. And Mike, here's how they do it. The home team gets the first 2 games, and then they play game 3, the deciding game on the road, if there is one.
Mm-hmm.
What the heck is that?
Hey, you didn't see New York Liberty did that. They won game 1 in Chicago, so now they guaranteed to get a home game. You got to earn a home game. In all the sports, this is the only league that figured out to make people earn shit.
So let's go through it, fans. The Las Vegas Aces beat the Phoenix Mercury 2 games to none, and they cruised around to.
Too many injuries.
They do reseed. Yeah, there was nothing Phoenix could do but just mercifully take Old Yeller out back. But 5 people know the Old Yeller reference. And as you said, the Chicago Sky and the New York Liberty. New York Liberty won the first game, talked a little bit too loud, in my opinion. And then the Chicago Sky won the second game. And I am anticipating the Chicago Sky winning the third game. But
in New York.
In New York. Okay. The Connecticut Sun looked comfortable against the Dallas Wings, and I anticipate the Connecticut Sun to close that out. So as you hear this on Wednesday, more likely than not, Connecticut will have taken care of business.
Mm.
But the series I liked, and it was the closest game of the first round, Seattle Storm against the Washington Mystics. 86-83 was the first game. When we tape on Sunday, they'll play game 2, and it would not surprise me if they came back to Washington. And our team correspondent, Niece Jasmine, already has tickets to game 3.
Washington had that game, man. Oh my God, they blew it.
So, and I believe they do reseed after the first round in each round.
Mm-hmm.
So, onward with the playoffs. In other stories in the WNBA, we do have a BG update. Brittany Griner's defense team filed an appeal to her 9-year prison sentence. Hopefully the government will be able to work something out. But that is the update. We do have a Liz Cambridge update. Liz Cambridge says she's stepping away from the WNBA for the time being. She's dealing with whatever she's dealing with, and her long-term future remains in question. But as we said in previous shows, she has a non-basketball portfolio that includes DJing and modeling. Man, I just like how she plays. She's old school. She's a post player. But she's had some challenges, man. Any thoughts on Liz Cambridge, sir?
I don't think they ever will be able to repair what happened, and I felt bad. You see, if you look on YouTube, it shows you the videos of her last game, the last 2 or 3 games, and you can see the miscommunications among teammates, her feeling like they overlooked her, which I could see. And then even in press conferences, them shooting dirty looks at each other in press conferences. So it's a lot. It's a lot outside of basketball that really caused this problem for her. I hope that at some point, because she's talented, people stop overlooking like that she might need assistance, that she may need therapy, she may need guidance. I'm not sure which one and where she should start, but I just think that sometimes because people are athletic or can do things that others can't, they don't tend to really be they think they can do everything. They think they're fine, and they think they just overlook the issues. It's like, oh, she'll be okay, but it's obvious that she definitely needs a break from basketball.
Yes, and our final story today, the Los Angeles Sparks are rebooting again. The Los Angeles Sparks have opened a national search for their next head coach while also looking for a new general manager. So the team said that Fred Williams, who filled in as the head coach on an interim basis, is going to be the associate coach at Auburn. He took the interim tag after Derek Fisher was fired as head coach. What's going on in Los Angeles? You had the Liz Cambridge. You had the Derek Fisher issues. Just a lot going on in LA, and they're supposed to be one of the franchise organizations. What are you thinking, Mike?
I think they need to get some people in consistency and really care about what's going on. Not saying that the people don't care, but I think maybe this is different than what they're used to dealing with. I can say that. I'm not sure of the history of the front office or what their background and resume is, but it just sounds like it's so much instability and a lack of guidance in the front office and the way things are being run that it's just trickling down. Everything trickles down. So,
and remember, maybe a week or two ago, we were talking about their practice facilities, and they were playing in a place like an old run and shoot place, in our area, which is, I think the quote was, even in the AAU team wouldn't
practice. He wouldn't practice. Yeah, that's not good.
All right, well, Sparks, if you're interested in 2 veteran coaches, we'll go to LA on your dime.
I'm racing my resume out there today.
All right. So with that, on behalf of my tag team partner, Coach Mike Francis, I'm Dr. Keith Adams saying thank you for listening and or watching the Odd Coaches podcast. And we will see you on the sidelines with a new headset. So until next time, take care.
We hope you enjoyed today's show. The Odd Coaches podcast drops new episodes every Tuesday through Friday on most weeks. Make sure you subscribe to the Odd Coaches podcast on Apple Music, iHeartRadio, Podbean, Spotify, and YouTube. Follow the Odd Coaches podcast on Twitter and Instagram at Odd Coaches. Follow Dr. Adams on Twitter and Instagram at CKA Save Project. In addition, follow Coach Mike Francis on Twitter and Instagram at Coach Franchise, spelled Coach Franchize. For more information about the CKA Save Project, please visit them on the web at www.ckasaveproject.org. See you next time on the Odd Coaches Podcast.